You're listening to Cinema Rex. That's right. Episode 71. Mahnaz Mohammadi's son mother, also known as Pesar Madar. So, welcome back from Banff.
How was your Banff?
Great. You had a Banff of a good time. All right, let's dive into this. Let's do this one a quick one for all the people listening on the subway who have 55 minutes to get somewhere. This podcast should fit right into your time slot.
Imagine it actually ends up being 55 minutes.
I think you can edit it and do your mastery skills to make that work.
Yeah. But what if we don't even record 55 minutes? Just lots of dead air.
Yeah, here we go.
We'll record the call to prayer outside your window.
Oh boy, that's fun stuff. Plot summary.
Wait.
Son mother.
Welcome to what? Where are we?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Before we do that, Durud Bashrama, Dustana Aziz. This is the Cinema Rex podcast where we talk all things Iranian film, cinema, art, literature, performances, acting, writing, directing.
Pretending to be deaf.
We discuss
pretending
all
to
things.
Be mute.
Pretending to be hard of hearing.
Yeah.
And mute.
Yeah.
I'm Kaveh Mohebi.
And I'm Farhan Moradi.
And today we're looking at a lovely little film by a first-time feature filmmaker. We'll go into the behind the scenes later on, but Mahnaz Mohammadi, prior to this film, was a documentary filmmaker. So this was her foray into
her forte would have been documentary
scripted story. Yes, and I think we're doing a pretty nice string of female directors recently on Cinema Rex. I'm proud about that.
Yeah.
You started with a staunch no women allowed attitude, and I've melted your icy heart into allowing.
Just let the record show that was a joke.
That was a joke. We've done Samira Makhmalbaf. We've done Marjan Satrapi. We've done the other Makhmalbaf sister, whose name I'm forgetting, who did Buddha Collapse Out of Shame. We've done the Persian version director, Mayim Keshavaz. Now we've done this film, Mahnaz Mohammadi. So good for us.
Hana Makhmalbaf.
Hana.
I was going to say Hana, and I was like, is that wrong? Let me double check this.
So let's dive into a plot summary of Pesar Madar so we can discuss all of its intricacies and details. Son Mother is split into two distinct chapters that follow a young widow named Layla. After losing her factory job, she's forced to weigh a marriage proposal from a bus driver who wants to provide for her and her infant daughter. However, patriarchal traditions dictate that he cannot let her 12-year-old son, Amir, live in his home. Chapter 1 follows Layla as she navigates excruciating social pressures and difficult compromises she must make to provide for her children, ultimately making the devastating choice to send Amir away to a strict boarding school. Now, that's only halfway through the film because Chapter 2 of this film shifts the perspective entirely to Amir, highlighting the trauma, isolation, and eventual awakening he experiences as he is separated from his mother and tries to adjust to his new life, living inside an educational system for deaf children within Iran. This has a 100% Rotten Tomato score. What's that?
You missed one very important thing in the plot summary. They pretend like the boy is deaf.
Yes.
So that he can go to a school for children who are hard of hearing.
Because
then it's paid for by the state. Yeah, I guess. Sorry.
This has a 100% Rotten Tomato score and it does not have an audience score yet. When you have an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, it's clearly it's the audience. Anyone could submit. But how do you submit? How is not one person submitted?
I don't know. I wonder if it needs to be aggregated with a certain number of audience. But I think a lot of regular people are not reviewing on Rotten Tomatoes anymore. I think they've moved to Letterboxd. And then I think those who are not cinephiles are probably on IMDb. I think the cinephile regular crowd, the non-critics, moved off of Rotten Tomatoes and went to Letterboxd.
Okay. And they used Son Mother as a case study to see what would it be like if none of us voted for this
No one
movie.
voted on Rotten Tomatoes. It has 3.4 on Letterboxd with 5 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Out of 5.
Okay.
3.4 with 562 ratings. So that's a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
So I ask you, Farhan, Junam, Azizam, what did you think of Son Mother?
I thought it was fine. Didn't have
thank you, Farhan. That ends our episode of Cinema Rex.
I didn't have particularly strong feelings pro or against the film, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is probably not a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
You are thrust right into the film, which I appreciated. I often like when movies will just like throw you right in the movie. That said, this movie feels like it does not have a first act at all. And I feel like this movie felt like the outline for a movie, and the script might have done well with a few more passes, because it's like what the synopsis you gave is the movie. Like there's like not many like twists and turns. There's like nothing deeper to the movie beyond that. There's like allegories and stuff that you can make, but there's no like, there's not much more happening in terms of plot.
Did you see, because I've been bearing the lead here a bit, and perhaps I should have put it up in the introductory statement, but did you see who wrote the screenplay?
I did not.
Oh, I'd like you to check in real time, whether you go on IMDb or the credits.
Okay. That's crazy. It's Mohammad Rasulov? That's crazy.
Yes. Mohammad Rasulov is the writer of this film.
This does not feel like his writing at all.
Well, I would argue it is. I will get there, but I think...
this feels like the outline for one of his movies, but it doesn't feel like one of his movies to me.
In case it got buried somewhere in Farhan's melted appreciation for the writer, this is a Rasulov film in penmanship. And, I looked for a lot to see the detail of how this sort of came about, but the most I could gather from the research I had done was that Rasulov and Mohammadi have been collaborators in the past on a lot of films. And speaking of the crew that they've sort of... So like the cinematographer of this film is a man named Ashkan Ashkani. Mm-hmm. He was the cinematographer for A Man of Integrity, Manuscripts Don't Burn. Mm-hmm. There's another producer that's worked on Rasulov's film. So this kind of feels like it's like they're all part of one sort of like film
our buddy
community,
Teardot
right?
did the sound mix on the film.
Oh yeah, cool.
On I think on set.
Yeah, well, the film sounds great.
I have thoughts on the sound.
But like it's interesting because the fact that you say it doesn't feel like a Rasulov film, I actually think it does feel like a Rasulov film.
That's interesting.
In that a lot of the themes,
themes for sure, like it feels like an outline for a Rasulov film.
Yeah. It's
just like the bulk of the story, I feel like there isn't enough to the story. Like not enough happens.
Well, it's just like, it's not structured like a 3-act story, which is maybe why you feel like there isn't a first act, but it does feel like 2 solid acts of a film that are about the same thing. Like there's obviously a sudden shift in perspective. Mm-hmm. The first 45 minutes is the mother's perspective. The second 45 minutes is the son's perspective, and that has a pretty devastating effect to the kind of like divorce in connection that you're seeing between this mother and son. Mm-hmm. Because the mother is essentially completely absent from the son's storyline. Mm-hmm. Like once the mother makes the decision to like give up her son to this orphanage or like, school for deaf children. Yeah. She's no longer in the film. Like she disappears from the film entirely. Yeah. With the exception of one perhaps image that is taken up for granted, taken for a debate.
Wait, why taken for debate?
The final image at the end when you see her.
Oh, if it's like real or if it's in his head.
And I think that actually has a really strong effect in the same way that a lot of 12 months later, Rasulov went on to write and direct There Is No Evil, which doesn't feel like that far of a departation from this film, where you have like 3 lesser connected stories. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of more of an anthology film, right? Or is it 4?
4.
It's 4, powerful short films that are sort of connected over themes of moral strength and the death penalty and how much of individual freedom do we give up? Like this almost feels like a bridge between his previous narrative film and then There Is No Evil, Son, Mother. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in that way, I feel like it's actually he's in his experimental phase of structure. Yeah. And that he had the script. I think also from the interviews I'd heard from her.
Do you think in terms of story though, like can you think of a Rasulov movie that's as stripped down in terms of what happens in the plot as this one?
I don't know.
I feel like there's usually more twists and turns.
I think this is this is standard for what is happening in a lot of Iranian films. Like I don't know, first of all, I don't necessarily think that demolishes that is like a shot against Iran, like plot. Like Where's the Friend's House? You could be boiled down to a 3-sentence storyline too, like in terms of plot.
Sure, but he's meeting different people along the way. There's different obstacles. There's like a lot of different things that like happen to him on the way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like
so you think the mother meeting the neighbor weighing her options, trying to fight for her job, the neighbor offering a solution, the moral consequences of that, the son finally going, having to pretend to be deaf, making new friends who are going to tell him how to survive. And this essentially becomes feels like a prison escape movie at certain times. Him
Yeah, it
escaping,
does, yeah.
finding the stepfather. Like, these are beats to a story that I feel are well enough to make a full film.
Maybe. I mean, well, yeah, they made the full film. The obstacles that are there, or the story beats that are there, are just not strong enough. And I would have liked to have seen that expanded upon, I guess. What did you think? Did you like it?
I liked the film quite a lot. This is my second time seeing it. I saw it first at TIFF in 2019, I think, where Mahnaz Mohammadi was in attendance, and she did a Q&A covering the film. And I thought that for a first feature, this was like really, it's very sad. Like, we will get to the end of the film, but like, it is truly a devastatingly heartbreaking film.
Yeah.
And again, it kind of made me feel like, cool, like the themes and the processes of making films in Iran never change, but at least we're seeing them from like younger directors and not the same like 60-year-old male. I mean, obviously it's still written by Rasulov, but like, it was just refreshing to see a slightly younger woman, Mahnaz Mohammadi. Like,
how old was she?
I think it's like 5-6 years ago. I think she was in her mid to late 40s. I mean, having had a career established as a documentarian before. But I'm going to do an opening shot corner for you. Kava's opening shot.
Hit me.
The opening shot is a bunch of wiring from the machinery in the factory that she's working at. And it's like really stringy and full of cords and stuff. And I really thought, like, my first note was that opening shot looks a lot like hair, like women's hair.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting first place to start. Whether intentional or not, that could mean just me grasping at straws
or grasping at
hairs. Yeah. But I like that. I think the actors all have very interesting looks. It's not necessarily, they don't look Hollywoody. They kind of look very natural.
Yeah.
In a way that there's like realness in their quality. Kind of reminded me of the way when we talked about, what's the lead actor's name from Taste the Cherry?
Oh, yeah.
Recently passed away.
Humayun Ershadi?
Yeah, we talked a lot about how there was a natural look to his face.
Yeah.
And, like, just like to give like a broader perspective on how the film begins is this woman, Layla, she's out on a job. She's low on money. She has 2 children. She's a widow. Her husband's passed away. And she gets this opportunity in the bus driver of her the factory she works at, who like drops off employees. He's like in love with her and wants to marry her. But the condition is that he also has like a almost teenage daughter or slightly older teenage daughter. And the regulations in Islamic rule, at least on a gossipy level, I don't think it's like legal restrictions, or perhaps maybe even is like, your son wouldn't be able to live with us because we can't keep an eye on both of them this entire time. They'll inevitably be alone together. And what would society think? What would my aunts and uncles think? What would my family think if like your almost teenage son and my teenage daughter are alone together in a house? So basically your son would not be allowed to live with us. And she's like, well, that's exactly the predicament. I'm not going to abandon my son to come live with you. And he's like, but I will give you guys a better life. Like, I'll give you better whatever. And she's like, I'm not giving up my son. And therein lies the big conundrum of the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
What did you think of all that? Did you catch all that? Did we ever meet
the daughter? The bus driver's
I think she's
daughter?
seen in a car. She's in a car at one point when
I missed that.
He's there to deliver something. She's like in the windshield looking at them, and the mother's looking at her.
I missed that. I don't know if I buy the mom taking that, not gambit, but I don't know if I buy her taking that deal. Did you buy it?
Yep. I think the film did a wonderful job. I like that this podcast is all like, I didn't like this. You liked it? Explain why now, Kavit. For my one sentence of me not liking it, now you go into detail about why you did.
I just didn't buy it. It just didn't feel realistic to me. Like, everything that we're seeing with this mom, she's like, she cares about her children.
Yeah, I think she was
literally
literally
all of a sudden be like, and even with the job, like, she has this job at this factory. She's allowed to work there because she's technically the only provider of the family, right? And like, everyone at the factory like hates that there's this woman working here. They're all super sexist, and they like come up with this lie basically that they all sign off on, that they're like, yeah, she actually does have a husband. And then they hand it into her boss, and her boss is like, oh, you can't work here. You lied. You have a husband, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I don't have a husband. What are you talking about? And so she gets fired, and the guy's like, yeah, you're frowning like you missed this. Did you catch this or you missed it?
I thought he said that you're having a relationship with the bus driver and you're not married to him. That's what the lie is.
No. They said that you're married. And she's like, no, I'm widowed. Let me, like, why can't you see my Shenos number or whatever? And then
okay, yeah, that part, yeah.
He's like, well, you can take your Shenos number into the office.
Yeah.
And you can take it up with
before
them.
Before that, they also accuse her of sleeping with the bus driver.
Yes, yeah.
Because there's all the gossipy stuff about
there's
that.
There's like tons of like everywhere they can, they're all like undermining her. They're like gossiping. Yeah. They're like telling her what she can and can't do on the floor. So they're like trying to get rid of her. And she's like fighting tooth and nail to stay at this job. And then she loses the job because they all sign this affidavit that she is in fact married and she's lying to the boss. And they're like, well, if you're not the primary provider, you can't be working in this factory with all the men.
Yeah.
We don't really see her like trying to find other work. Like, I don't buy that she was at this point of desperation that she was willing to give up her child like immediately.
I think the implication is like people are striking. There isn't other work out there. Like, I'm pretty sure if there was other work out there, she wouldn't be working at a factory. Like, the implication is that she's already here because it's probably the last place she can.
But show it to me.
Get in touch with the working. I don't think it was needed. I also think that the part of the way that they really nicely build this up in the script is that she's getting increasingly poked by her neighbor of like, this is the best move. They'll provide for you. Your son would have to just live there for a year. And then they even negotiate, like the neighbor's like, just say you're going to do this for 3 weeks. It'll be 3 weeks of your son's life in order to like have like a lifestyle and comfort. So it's like, you just need to tell your husband that after 3 weeks, like, you get married, you make sure the legal requirements are there, and then like he'll become soft on you and you get your way and you slowly control the decisions that are made in the house. Yeah. So she's being like negotiated on why this will work out to the point where it's like beaten into her that it's like, it's just 3 weeks. Like, have your son stay there for 3 weeks and then you can like get him back and everything will be working out. So it's like, she's kind of like in this, I think the script did a good job of putting in this predicament.
That's interesting.
Like, that is truly what a dilemma is. It's like every situation before her is horrible, and this is one potential way out. I just think like it does get me really mad to see like this whole thing of the culture of like, we can't have your, like, it's like they kind of paint the man who loves Layla as like a weirdly complex guy because he seems nice on the surface level. He's actually kind of soft spoken. He's like, I actually love you. He's like, man, and he like pauses. He's like, man, okay, man, do sit there. And he's like, hat in hand coming, being like, I really want to take care of you and I love you.
Yeah.
I just can't like let your son come because what will my neighbors think? What will the people think? What will my, I have aunts and uncles to answer to. And it like kind of goes back to that really frustrating thing that Ratzlaff does really well of like, the system is so against you.
Yeah.
That it's like, if the government isn't giving you a hard time, it's like the cultural impediments that the government has input on people, right?
Right, yeah.
God forbid their stepbrother and stepsister exist to each other. Like,
I know.
Has the Islamic regime been watching too much Pornhub to think that their stepbro, stepsisters go one direction only?
When you did your research, did you find that that's like an actual... Oh, so that was funny. When you did your research, did you find anything that said that was like a legal thing, or was it just like a cultural thing?
Yeah, she said as a documentarian, she had traveled through a lot of villages, and the more and more she had realized that these are some cultural norms that are actually a little bit more... These outdated traditions exist more in Iran, not necessarily always in the city, but she talked about how like even still noticing in small villages, child brides being a thing was like appalling to her. Again, mostly referring to rural places, but it was something she'd witnessed as a documentary filmmaker for over 20 years. And so she's pulling on something that she'd experienced. Now she isn't... And it's also vague as to whether or not she was co-writing with Rasulov on this, or is the story by her and Rasulov?
I mean, even if it's Rasulov has the credit, usually directors will do like a director's pass on the script before they shoot it.
Yeah, but this is based on stuff that she'd said she'd experienced and witnessed.
Yeah,
traveling across Iran. Yeah, I really like the scene where like the guys are striking too. Like, he's built all these complex systems that make life so much harder for Layla. Like, there happens to be a strike going on.
Yeah,
they're calling her a scab essentially for staying in and working
and turning on the machine and whatever.
Yeah, he turns it off. She turns it back on, and he goes, all you know how to do is service the factory bus driver. Like, that's such a dirty dick, man. That he does that to her. Like, do you remember? Like, it just makes me so bad. The systems in place that hold people down, man. That's just the stuff that brings like, I'm watching an Iranian Rasulov film again.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to anger you.
Yeah.
Eye-opening way.
Well, and she's effectively scabbing because they keep laying people off.
Yeah.
And she thinks that if she does that they'll be less likely to lay her off.
Yeah.
And then all the workers end up uniting, like the whole
Against
union.
it. Yeah.
And sign this, like, they like manufacture an affidavit.
Well, and the interesting thing too is that the bus driver who loves her, I think his name's Kazim or something. He's like, if you marry me, I would smack their mouths for talking shit. And he's technically right. Like, that's the sad thing about the culture they live in is like, they bully you because you don't have a husband.
Yeah.
If I was your husband, I'd step in and smack their faces before they could say anything. They're doing this because they know you're alone.
Well, and the crazy thing
and
too is
he's right.
Yeah. And the crazy thing too is like, let's just say they are courting each other, okay? It's like, it's a society where like you're not allowed to court and you're like, it's discouraged. They talk shit if you do all this stuff. And then when you get married, all that is out the window. It's like, well,
yeah,
obviously they were courting each other if they were going to get married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very hypocritical black and white view of the world.
It's a circus.
Well, it's also based on the theology, right? It's like once you do get them married, once you're married, in God's eyes, you're allowed to court each other. But you have to get married first.
I know.
Kiarostami was right. I want to say that.
Kiarostami was right? What?
You know what he was right about? The scene where she's alone in her room with her infant daughter who's sick and she's like asleep next to her. She's still wearing a rusari in her own house, alone with a baby.
Oh,
caring for the child.
Yeah.
And I was like, in that scene, I'm like, it really does break the suspension of belief.
It does.
Because she wears it very conservatively too, even in her own home.
Yeah.
She wears it quite like closed off. And I was just like, I was thinking of the Kiarostami thing. It was like, he really didn't like having to do that.
Yeah.
And tried avoiding that at all costs. Because he's like, it just breaks reality. And I'm like, it really does. Like you suddenly, those are the moments that you're like, I'm watching a movie right now. Because why is she wearing her rusari so tight when she's alone at home caring for a sick child?
Yeah.
There is a little bit I'll say when I get to behind the scenes in trivia, but they did fight to try to get this film properly through the proper channels. Unlike all the stuff we say like underground or shot in another country, like this was shot in Iran. The script was approved by the regime, and they were trying to get this film to be released in Iran.
Did they know that Rasulullah wrote it?
They did. They had a bigger problem with Mahnaz actually.
Oh. How did you feel about when it shows the wide shot of the cafeteria and there's just like chai at every kid's spot?
Oh yeah, that was funny. You mean that when they get to the sun part?
Yeah. I was like, they're just feeding all these kids like really caffeinated tea.
Yeah. Well, I'll get there in a second. I just wanted to finish these last thoughts. She finally accepts his agreement because she has no other choice. They go on like this date/honeymoon where the two of them have ice cream in their car.
Yeah.
I thought that was like really nice. He's like, can I have some of your strawberry? And she's like, sure. She's like, you can have some of my mango. And I was like, oh, this is very sexy. This is like the height of sexuality.
I was surprised they got away with that.
Yeah. I think at that point they are married. They're married at that point.
I know, but the actors aren't.
Oh, but yeah, true. They're just having ice cream. That's not allowed either.
But they took ice cream from each other's ice cream and then ate it all in one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's not even like hidden behind a cut.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow, chicka, bow, bow. Okay, yeah. And then the story switches POV. And what I think is really interesting about this is I think the son barely says 2 words in the first half and then does his first real lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
In his POV storyline.
Yeah.
And it doesn't repeat the events that we saw. It kind of continues the story where it left off, but now we're just fully with the son.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred if the movie did the entire movie from the mom's POV, then the entire movie from the son's POV, or do you like it the way it was?
Well, they do it chronologically that way too. So are you saying they do the son version and then rewind to events prior?
Yeah.
No, I like it this way.
Okay.
You like it the other way?
I have another way that I would do it, and I'll talk about it in
you can do it
Hollywood
like
remake.
Christopher Nolan's Memento.
No, I do it like Tenet. One of them is over a month or a week. One's over a day, and one's over an hour.
So then, obviously, from the son's perspective, you see that this neighbor has taken him out to like the worst version of Wonderland I've ever seen in Iran. But it's cool to see like an old lady and a son like pedaling on these swan-shaped paddle boats. I've never seen a paddle.
That's funny you thought Wonderland. I was thinking like
Ontario Place.
No, not even like Hyde Park or like Central Park.
Yeah. And she convinces him. She's like, "Do this for your mother. Don't you want your family to be happy? It'll only be 3 weeks. You go to this school. It's a nicer school, so you're not in an orphanage, but it's a school for deaf children. And what I'm asking you to do is to pretend to be deaf for only 3 weeks, and then your mother will come and get you once she's able to convince her husband. And do you remember what the sound? Okay, so that's the sound mixing thing, if you haven't thought. But you notice, like, as she's telling the story, you hear the sound go out.
Yeah, that was good.
And it's like the son is kind of practicing, I guess, tuning it out. But at the same time, it's a very nice metaphorical layer of, like, he's turning a deaf ear to them.
Yeah.
Like, the version of turning a blind eye to them is like the betrayal he's felt by this, like, elderly lady and his mother, because he no longer speaks to her later too, right? Yeah. Like that one last scene that he has with her, she like says something and he's in the room watching TV and he stops talking to her. He cuts her off.
Yeah.
But it plays like he's quote unquote hard of hearing.
Yeah. I would have liked if, you know, that thing with the sound mix where it like, it gets muffled and then like he's focusing on like background noise and stuff. Yeah, I would have liked if that was recurring throughout.
They did it
like when he was at the school.
After that. Didn't they do it for a few scenes at the very beginning of the school?
If they did, I missed it. But like there's like a few instances where I remember specifically being like, oh, they should have done it here.
Yeah. It's also like a nice like philosophical question of like, is he pretending not to hear them to practice, or has he really decided to stop talking to them?
Yeah.
Because from one level, he could be like,
yeah,
is he disassociating? He's either cut them off and he's not talking to them, or he's practicing what they're telling. So, okay, you want me to pretend them? I don't hear you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like there's a really interesting, like, you can draw your conclusions on which one he's decided to do.
Yeah.
And that BB woman, the neighbor, she's a real mover and shaker. She's like, she's really like tells the landlord to do this and not to charge for rent and all the other places. Like, she goes to the school. You see her. She's kind of like one of the caretaker servant women at the school. She brings the tea to the teacher.
Her sister's the caretaker at the school, isn't she?
No, it's her. Well, she delivers the tea.
I thought they tell her, oh, why did your sister bring her here?
No,
go tell your sister to tell the mom to do this.
She goes there. She tells the mom. She tells the mom, when you show up to bring your kid to school, I'm going to pretend like I just recognized you, and I'm going to tell them you're my sister's neighbor. So she goes there and it's like, oh, Leila Khanum, it's you.
I thought it was a twin sister.
No.
That's funny.
It's the same woman. And she's like, I'm going to pretend like I didn't know you were coming. And then so that way it feels more casual and I could like talk to them. Right. They don't know you're coming because of me.
Yeah.
And that's the moment. Like you kind of see this, like there's the audience kind of, the irony of the scene is that we're watching this play out and we know that they know each other.
Yeah.
And she's like doing like a winky thing and convincing the parent. And it's really nice. It's like, it's really, oh, that was the scene is when you cut to the POV and you see Bibi Khanum talking to the other teacher. Mm-hmm. You see the son watching it, but you don't hear the audio. That was the other scene where you see it through the crack of a door. And it's like, it might be assumed that they're too far away to hear, but it's also from his POV. So is he doing the hard of hearing thing? Then another thing that happens, since this story had no plot in your opinion, is the good raising of the stakes is like, he's now in this place halfway through the story. And one kid in the middle of the night goes, like, you miss your mother too? And like, I can hear you talking to you in your sleep.
Well, and it's like hinted early on that the other kid can speak.
Yeah. Because he tries to mouth something to him and like the guy doesn't respond.
Yeah. And he even like waves at him and like does a bunch of like, it's like,
yeah,
I think the other kid clued in like immediately that he's not deaf.
Something's up with it. And also this film suddenly takes on like what I felt like it feels like a prison movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like the stakes have changed. The world has shifted. The character shifted. It's kind of neat. I like this stuff about the movie. Just felt different.
Yeah.
Like if you were to write a story that one place takes place in space, one takes place on land, one takes place in water.
Across
like that'd be like a really interesting device.
Different kinds of waves, yeah.
The irony is I really want to know what the mother is doing once we get to the son story.
Yeah.
But we have no clue at all because we're so firmly in the son's POV that we as an audience suddenly feel abandoned by the mother too. Without a sense as to why she's not coming back. Why isn't it taking so long? What's happened on that side of the story?
That's very deep, Kaveh.
Well, it's interesting because it does give us that sense of alienation. It's like, okay, I was only supposed to be here for 3 weeks. It's been a month. It's been 2 months. The son is like living his life now here. And we're like, what happened to the mother?
Yeah.
Why isn't she coming? And we can only come to our own conclusions as to why. But, you know, when a movie has the permission to cut to the mother and show us what's happening, this film and this script chooses not to do that to us.
Yeah.
So we are stuck with the son. And it's like, it actually really creates the sense of like, we're really feeling what the son is feeling.
Yeah.
confusion, anger, and rage about the situation, which is, I think this is like really interesting stuff that you're saying the film lacked.
I mean, I would have been curious
Plot
to
mechanics.
know. I would have been curious to know what was going on with the mom.
This evokes a stronger emotion for us with the child. We have stronger
maybe
empathy
for
with the
you.
child because
it didn't for me.
if you knew information the son didn't know, you are now like at a different level playing field than the son, right?
Not necessarily, because then you can experience dramatic irony. Sophocles played with dramatic irony all the time.
Yeah, that's a different type of movie.
And that's what I would have preferred.
Oh, so you wanted to know where the mother was?
Yeah. I'll talk about it in the Hollywood remake part, but
the directing in the scene when the man asks the son, so he escapes, the boy escapes, right?
Yeah. There's a really cool scene, and it felt a lot like a breakout, like you were talking about, where the other kid who can talk, he's talking about, he's like, yeah, man, your mom's not coming back in 3 weeks. Like, I've been waiting. He's like, no, my mom's coming. I know she's coming. I just have to wait. And then he's like, I've been waiting for my mom for 3 years.
Oh, I'm not talking about that kid. I was talking about someone else.
Isn't it the same kid who helps him get out?
I'm talking about an adult. Go on. You go on with your thing.
Oh, and then it like the next night we see someone helping him get out the window and like remove the bars in the window, and then he crawls out.
Yeah. That's the prison escape movie.
Yeah. And that was cool. That was really cool to see.
Yeah. I was thinking about when he finally does escape, he meets his stepdad.
Oh,
the guy who's married.
Yeah.
And he's like, he like first sees him and runs away, and the guy catches him and like takes him out to like this diner where they have like eggs and bread.
Mm-hmm.
He pays, the dad pays for the meal, and he like looks him straight in the eye and goes, "You think I'm your enemy?" And he's like, "But I'm not. Your mom misses you a lot." And when he says your mom misses you a lot, it's a really great thing where the son looks up from his plate for the first time. Like the son doesn't want to make eye contact with this guy.
Yeah.
Who's effectively ruined his life. And it's interesting, like, again, really weird for me. I don't know, I guess you disagreed or whatever, but this way of like the empathy you have for this father is like, you expect him to be like, maybe this was all a ploy and he's like, you're never going to see him. But he's like weirdly sympathetic. He just kind of feels like he's another cog in this corrupt system. And he's like, my hands are tied.
When he sees the dad talking, who do you think the dad's talking to?
When he sees the dad talking to whom?
Sorry,
what do you mean?
Stepdad. When he's like, and then he sees him watching him, and then he goes over to him and he like takes him for a drive, and he's like, "Oh, you think I'm the enemy? I'm not the enemy." Blah blah blah. But when he like sees him from like across the street or from like down the street,
yeah, I don't remember. I don't think
he's talking to a group of men.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is my own inference of it, and I actually really like this, and it was one of the things that I was like, "Oh shit, I wish that they had gone in this direction or maybe expanded on it." It felt like those were his coworkers and he was super chummy with them, which also made me think. And I kind of had this thought early on when the mom was talking about the affidavit that like everybody signed that she was married. It made me think, did the bus driver like concoct this plan or like come up with this plan with the other coworkers to take it to the boss and be like, yeah, she has a husband, blah, 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 so that she got fired? Because what she was talking about, she was like, I can't get married. I have to provide for my son. There's all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. So my thinking was, did this guy go and get her fired so that she would be pushed to the point of desperation to give her son up and then marry the guy?
Right. I don't think so.
You don't?
But it's an interesting. No, because I think like
you're about
that
to
would
ruin
sort
the
of
one thing about this movie that I really liked, Scott.
That's fine. You can have that interpretation. Like, I'm not saying that's like you're not entitled to that perspective. I just personally don't see it that way.
Right.
I think the film would take the responsibility out of the society that's like built against women and it put it firmly in the hands of one man.
I don't think
who's
so.
Like orchestrating this thing.
No.
Because orchestrating the event.
I think if anything, it's like, yeah, all these guys are like are in different ways are a hurdle to her, because the coworkers still didn't like her. The boss still didn't vouch for her. Like, it's like everybody basically worked together for her to lose her job. Like all the men.
But it's being orchestrated by this man. You're like saying that this guy's.
I think maybe he pitched the idea to the coworkers, but like they all signed it. They all worked together to do it. They all vouched for it.
Yeah, I just feel like you're extrapolating something we did not see happen, which is fair to like come to a theory for headcanon, but I don't think the film is implying.
Whoa, I don't think that's headcanon. I think there's enough evidence to suggest that like this is a very real possibility.
I just think that he's like he's, even if he's talking to those people, it's like he's just a man going about his day and still doing his job, right? Like the man's job is secure. He's going to keep doing his job.
Yeah, but now he gains a wife.
I think the system and the structures were in place that were so stacked against her that she was going to be bad backed regardless as to whether a man had to push the cards in his favor.
To get fired or not.
Like I think that's
maybe.
already the system. I think the Rasulov process is that like this system is so stacked against us that like you don't need like it's just the process itself is hard enough as it is.
Maybe.
Well, anyways, what I was going to say throws completely what you said in your face, but I think like here's why I vastly disagree with you. What you're saying is like you just keep waiting for him to be an even worse man, and that isn't revealed to ourselves. He's just this guy who's another cognizant, or you're kind of hoping for him to become this hero that like take the son back, and he doesn't end up doing that either. He's sort of like limp in action towards doing anything, and he's just falling into the corrupt system. So he keeps going like, I'm fine with you being here. I'm fine with you living in our house with us. Don't think I'm your enemy. But what am I going to tell these people? What am I going to say to the people who ask why the son? And like that is like at the heart of the cornerstone of Iranian corruption. Is like culturally, they've now grown up under a system that's like, I'm fine with you living with us in our family as a 12-year-old son or whatever. But like, I wouldn't be able to face my neighbors, or what would my mom think? And I have a family to like answer to. And it's like,
yeah, that's
exactly it. You're just like another limp-wristed cog in the machine who won't stand up for what's right. You're just going to live under the system that's going to put a boot on over everyone's head.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the stronger thematic underpinning of like why these people are all falling victim to a system that doesn't allow for them to live the lives they want.
Yeah.
That's how I perceive it. It flies directly in the face of your argument.
Definitely does. Because I think for me, part of it is like, oh yeah, even this guy who claims to have these noble intentions is like a scumbag because he's been like pushed to like have to do things like this to get what he wants.
But that's just extrapolating from a shot of him talking to people from a distance, right?
No, also like early, like I had the thought early on as well when he's like, because it's like the next scene after he's talking about, oh, let's get married, whatever. And she's like, just drop me off here. Like I'm getting out. And she gets off the bus. It's like almost the very next time. I think it might be the next time she's at work. She goes into work and she gets fired. Which to me is like, oh shit, did he have a hand in that? If this was a Mohammadi film, 100% he would.
It's also suggested that he's been asking for a long time before the events of the film started.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But just, I guess the way that it's cut, it gives me the implication that like, oh, did this guy do that? I don't know if it's intended, but I could have seen this movie going in that direction. And I think it would have added more conflict if it did. Because then you could do this thing where like the mom knows that like he did this, but she's so desperate that she has to go be with him anyway.
Yeah. I just didn't extrapolate that.
That's fair. I just did extrapolate that.
Did you have any thoughts on his story that he shares with him when he starts driving him back?
With the bike?
Yeah. Just for the context, he tells technically his stepson now that he's like allowed his wife to abandon. He's like, I remember once I caught this guy stealing my bike and I chased after him. And he cut to the chase. He essentially steals his bike back. And the guy who steals the bike back from him chases after him and goes, thief, thief. And he's like, you jerk, you're a thief. And then he goes back home and sees his bike is in his backyard. So he did actually just stole someone else's bike. And he laughs about it. He's like, well, we were kids. We did silly things. That's the story he tells. Did you have any takeaways from that?
I feel like he's trying to teach this guy like, hey, because he even talks about how he like saw the guy at first and like followed him across town and like went really far away from home and did this thing. And then he got the bike back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think part of why he's telling the story is he's trying to be like, look, just like I did, you like followed me across town and you were like doing all this stuff and you accused me of being this like bad guy. But then when you get back home, you're going to realize I'm not that bad. I think that's the lesson that he's trying to tell the boy. But if anything, what it did was it inversely ended up making me think like, wow, this guy is a scumbag. He like wrongly accused someone of being a thief.
I think it's an interesting. That's like you might be right with that. He's trying to like connect with the son and be like, you're going to realize in time that like I'm not a bad guy. I think like just jumping to my deeper analysis, it feels like the story is about taking something that isn't his, and he's doing that currently as he
Yeah,
usurps a role in a family that isn't his,
totally.
and he's doing it because he thinks he's in the right or that his actions are just. So it's like this guy,
Yeah,
when he was a kid, stole the bike because he's like, well, whatever, call me thief all you want. I'm taking my bike back. So this is a just action. But for him to go home and realize, oh, I did accidentally steal this bike. This is not my bike.
oh, you're saying
So
he goes home after all this and realizes like, oh
no,
shit,
I
I
don't
did
think he
steal your
would. I don't
family.
think he would in real life. Like I don't think he would this time with the husband with the situation. But it's like this story that he's telling is like the writer and filmmaker being like, it's another example of a generation of Iranians who are like, or even take the Islamic regime, who've
Right.
usurped a role in a family that isn't theirs
Yeah.
because they think they're in the right. And how often have we talked about the themes of the abandoned youth in a system of like young men
Yeah.
and women too,
For
but
sure.
especially like the men in the men
Oh,
in the
jumping
system in
all over
Iran.
deeper analysis.
Well, I forgot what other film was it we talked about? Where there's two of the three films examples of like abandonment and orphanages and like
Well,
the idea of
one
not just
was
House is Black, it was something else.
Brick and Mirror was one.
Brick and Beer, that's the one I keep bringing up.
And
I
then
brought up reference.
we also talked about it a little bit in Hit the Road.
Yeah,
With like the roles of like the youth and how they've been like abandoned by society and like he has to be like smuggled out of the country.
yeah. And yeah, that's my full deeper analysis on that anyways, but I'll just say that it's like, it's interesting that this guy's taking over a family that he thinks he has the right to because he's going to protect it better.
Yeah,
And in doing so,
a
he's
dramatic
abandoned the
irony
son.
there where it's like he's telling this story that he thinks will be a lesson, but there is a lesson in there for him to take away as well, which I think he's like aloof to.
Yeah, he's aloof. Behind the scenes in trivia, the film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 7th, 2019, which is, I think, the exact date I saw it. I think it played 3 times. I'm pretty sure it's at the first screening. This is her first narrative film. Mahnaz Mohammadi is a documentary filmmaker, actor, and women's rights activist. Her 2006 documentary is most notable of her work. It's called Women Without Shadows. As I mentioned, Ashkan Ashkani is the DP of this film, who also has done many Rasulullah films in the past. And she did say that the authorities actually approved of the script. They liked the script, and they had actually permitted it, the stamp of approval, but they didn't like Mahnaz. Mahnaz had been jailed multiple times in the past, and then when asked why, she said, quote, "They don't like me because I don't shut my mouth."
I identify with that.
But ironically, the script, they didn't have too many notes. They did everything above the board to try to get the movie permitted and properly made through the channels in the hopes to be able to screen it without getting into trouble for it. But as of to this date, they have not been able to screen this film in Iran because Mahnaz has been a vocal critic of the Islamic regime. During ministry screening, the people in charge of the process didn't know themselves if the husband and wife in this film were allowed to get married because of, according to religious sanctions, they weren't sure if like this particular system of events means that under Islamic law, this couple can get married. I don't even know if it's like their specific type of religion they are or whatever, but the members of the ministry apparently weren't even sure themselves. And this is a story from the producer himself. They like had to like review within review as to whether or not this bus driver is allowed to marry this woman under these circumstances, according to religious sanctions. She's got a new film out called Roya, which just premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. It's another scripted story, feature film.
Oh la la.
Same producer, Farzad Pak, P-A-K. When asked what drives you to tell these stories, she says, by making the story, I feel a little bit more space to breathe in a society that has complete oppression.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the tradition of how people become tools of oppression. I realized I'd become a tool of oppression too, and I realized that I had to shine a light on what I was doing. She says it's based on my, yeah. I think she's talking about the tools of oppression being like, even like the bus driver, like
Right.
he might not be, his attempts might be like noble, quote unquote, but he's just another tool in this system. And she goes again, like kind of answer. She goes, it's based on my life and the things I've seen. I can't imagine my life without tragedy in it. And I think that this is the same for all Iranians. That's ever behind the scenes in trivia.
Cool.
Critical reactions.
Wait, I have one behind the scenes in trivia.
Oh yeah, go for it.
The last time we see her in the locker room when she's packing up to leave work, you can hear the men fooling around and singing a song in the men's locker room. Did you recognize the song that they were singing?
Yeah, I heard it was like a foolish song is what the subtitle says.
It
A
was,
silly song.
I wouldn't say it's a silly song. It was just Rayhan,
Oh, okay.
which is it's a Azeri um folk song, which was famously covered by Koroshi Akhmai.
Okay, yeah, cool. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I think it's Azeri. I don't think it's Kurdish. I'm pretty sure it's Azeri. If I got it wrong, you can DM me angrily.
Yep. That will be coming from Sina Dolati, most likely. Critical reactions. This won the Amnesty Award for Fibio Fest. The Amnesty Award of the Fibio Film Fest in Prague, the Audience Award at the Istanbul Film Fest, and the Special Jury Award at the Rome Film Fest in 2020. Deborah Young from The Hollywood Reporter said, Son Mother is one of the saddest stories to come out of recent Iranian cinema, and that's saying a lot. Mohammadi is a nuanced director whose passion for social issues recalls that of Rakhshan Bani Etemad. She brings a top-notch technical team to the film, led by cinematographer Ashkan Ashkani, who approaches common situations like lighting the gloomy institute of a dream sequence with creative atmosphere. That's it for critical reactions. Let's go deeper analysis. I mean, I said my thing already, so we can breeze on through this.
I mean, there's the big thing is like that we talked about is about how the movie is definitely commentary on how the patriarchy is like designed to keep women down, and when women are trying to like they can't even like date before they get married. They can't work on their own because all the men are like ganging up to like basically get her fired. And it's also a system where like she can't even get the like social support she needs, and the only way to get around all this like all the like cheating, for example, that society uses to like keep women down was for them to cheat. Do you know what I mean? Like the solution that they found, they had to become corrupt to combat the corruption, to like pretend like their son was deaf.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then the other, like another big thing was the thing with whether or not the new husband had a hand in getting her fired, which you think I'm making this up. I think it's possible. I think for sure it's possible, and I do think that it is likely. But
yeah, I think it's possible that after the film ends, she ends up marrying Jim Carrey because she travels to the United States and meets him, and they fall in love, and she gets a green card. It's possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah, there's all of the machinations are set in place for that to be the third act. Best scene. Do you have a best scene, Faran, June?
I do, and I wonder if it's the same as yours. It's there's a scene where the principal and like one of the office staff at the school are like talking shit about the kid in front of him, right? Because they like assume that he's deaf.
Yeah.
And then and the principal keeps talking about how she like doesn't like his look and all this stuff. And then just as he goes to leave, a ball hits the window and he reacts. And you don't even see if the principal sees him react, because you end up seeing the other office staff going and checking the window and whatever. But then the principal gets suspicious and like comes over and goes in front of the boy and starts dropping things behind her back to see if he'll react, and he's able to like retain his reaction. It was a very tense scene. It like weirdly felt like a tense scene out of like an action movie. That was my favorite scene.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene too. And it's when I first saw this movie in 2019, I had forgotten a lot of the details of this movie, but I did not forget the scene. And every time someone had asked me about Son Mother, this was the scene I would draw upon, because it is such a good example of dramatic irony, as you said, syphilis once said. And it's just really it's really tense and really like it's kind of got the edge of a spy movie scene.
Yeah.
And it's really
there's
well
more
done.
of that in this movie, comment. The movie would have won me.
Yeah. But it lost you.
Yeah.
I also have to just say shout out secondary runner-up scene. I really like the scene with the stepdad and son eating bread.
Yeah. That's my runner-up too. Yeah. It's very sweet and tender.
Damn, that's poetry.
What's your damn that's poetry?
It's when the Harlem Bibi is trying to explain to her how, she's like, you should marry him. He loves you so much and he'll take care of you. And it's like, and she's like, but she's explaining, she's setting up the whole like layout of what the plot is.
Yeah. And
he's like, yeah, but I can't have my son there. It's like, well, the old saying is like, it's because he has a daughter. He has a daughter there too. And it's like, that old saying goes, don't store cotton and fire together. Is what Bibi says. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard that saying. I don't know if that's a saying. I don't know if that's an Iranian
No,
Islamic saying.
I think I've heard that saying before.
But it's like
It
the
sounds
idea, like, what a
familiar.
funny way to describe like men and women together in a room under like this strict theocratic law. It's just like, don't store cotton fire together. There's an internet YouTube video
Yeah.
of like this cotton factory catching fire from one guy's cigarette. Have you seen it?
No.
How quickly it spread?
No, but that's
Guys like
funny.
having a smoke inside a cotton factory and it spreads so quickly the entire place burns down. And and it made me think of that. But like that's a very funny analogy. Like, don't store cotton in fire because I guess women are the cotton and men are the fire.
Yeah, that's really funny. I've heard about like race relations from like speeches in the 60s, people talking about keeping a matchbook near a powder keg.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that's mine.
Mine is when they're on the swan boat and BB is like, can you speak? And then he doesn't speak. And then she's like, can you hear me? And he doesn't hear her.
مثلا الان صدای منو میشنوی؟ میشنوی؟ حرف چی؟ حرف میتونی بزنی؟
She asks a few times. But like, I guess I could have mentioned this in deeper analysis, but I think part of this has to do with what we were talking about with like how the youth is lost or getting like glossed over and getting ignored in this society. And it's this thing of like, can he speak? Can these children speak? Will they speak?
Oh yeah.
But they can hear you, even though they may seem like they don't. Which there's like bits and pieces of this in a lot of Iranian movies. I think to a lesser extent, a movie like Where's the Friend's House. And this also like kind of harkened back to that for me because it's, you have this elderly woman speaking to this boy, and I think that she knows what kids have to go through, because in a lot of ways, like when you become older, society starts to treat you like a kid again.
Yeah. Sort of off of that. In that same scene when BB's talking to the woman, she's like, you have an opportunity here to have a man protecting you. It's a blessing. She's like really trying to convince him this idea of like having a man look out for you is like a blessing.
Yeah, she's like almost speaking for herself.
Yeah, and she's like, don't make the same mistake I did, which is, I'm sure there's a whole story there too with what happened to this woman. But it's just interesting that it's like that irony too of like, oh, isn't it just great to have a man looking out for you in a culture where like the patriarchy is so devastatingly murderous and brutal.
Yeah.
Just an interesting thing for anyone to say. Best performance.
I wrote the son, which is funny because like in the first half, he doesn't really do much. But in that second half, I think he like really stole it for me. Like he's
in the second half, he doesn't even say much.
What?
In the second half, he doesn't really say much either. It's like he doesn't really talk. But I agree.
He talks more in the second half. But he's like this.
Mohammadi.
Yeah, there's more in his like subtleties in the second half. Like he's saying a lot more with his subtle performance in the second half of the movie. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have him as my top pick too. But I also think BB was really good too. Mayam Bubani.
Yeah, she was good. The mom also deserves a shout out.
Yeah, she's very good as well. There's a lot of good actors in this, which is credit to good directing, I think.
Yeah. In
this film that you hated so much. Okay, Festival of Cons. I only have one minor one.
I have two.
I guess I have one. I just think the relationship with the other non-deaf kid is quite interesting, and I wouldn't have minded learning a bit more of that relationship. It kind of like shows up and goes away really quickly as a plot device.
I'm not marking something like that as a con because I feel like that to me is a general note for the whole movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little things that come up that I'm like, I would have liked more of that.
Yeah. And also I do like this BB character so much that I wonder what their relationship is. Are they just neighbors? She seems quite like a overbearing aunt, but they're not family.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. She's such a gangster in this like godfather-y way of like she's sort of moving all the puzzle pieces. It's very Game of Thrones of her, And I wonder, like, I just want to know more about her.
And even though she's like not the principal at the school, she like still gets them to do what she wants.
Yeah. That's it, really. Those are two areas I would have loved to have seen a bit more time.
Mine are minor. One of them is the child, the baby, the little sister.
Who's actually crying.
Yeah, and when she's crying, if you pay attention to what she's saying,
she asks for her mom off screen.
yeah.
She says mom saying,
yeah, like repeatedly, she just keeps saying it. But like the character's mom is holding her, and it like took me out of the scene.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, why didn't you just ADR the scene to like get around the kid saying this? And then the other note is like similar vein. I thought the Foley in the movie was not very good. Like a lot of times the sounds of the footsteps like don't match the environment they're in, or the types of shoes they're wearing or whatever. And then there's like the creaky doors. It's like the stereotypical sound effect of a creepy door from like 1930s like talkies.
Yeah.
Like it's like the sound effect work could have used work.
Yeah. Great double feature lineup. What would you pair this film with?
Color of Paradise, which we have not done on
No.
the podcast yet. Have you seen it?
No.
I think it's Majidi, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
What are the?
Do you know the premise?
No. Tell me.
It's about this poor Iranian man who ends up leaving his blind child at a school for the blind.
Oh, really?
So like imagine like the second half of this movie, but it's like fleshed out into more of a movie, and the boy is actually blind. That also has a very sad ending.
Yeah. Okay. When did you see it?
When it came out, what was it, like 99, 2000?
Yeah, I've never seen it. I'm excited to do it one day.
Yeah, it's good.
Mine is a film you've inevitably seen.
Batman Begins.
Close. It's a film by
I
Francois
thought I would have gotten
Truffaut.
you with that.
Francois Truffaut.
It's possible.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He's a French New Wave. He's the French New Wave director.
He's also a philosopher.
That's right. His film is called 400 Blows.
I think so.
It follows a neglected and misunderstood Parisian adolescent
Mm-hmm.
who rebels against an unsympathetic system and unsympathetic parents and strict teachers, and he's driven to a life of petty crime and running away. He's eventually sent to a youth observation center. I actually think this film is actually very likely used as an influence to the kid, because there's even like the shaving of the head scene, and I feel like those scenes are very similar. It's like she was like manifesting these scenes in her head when she was making this. So like
we saw. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say films of like themes of neglected youth and Law and Order and Punishment.
Yeah,
These two films could kind of go together. Go ahead.
we saw a lot of Truffaut in film school, but I don't know if I saw this one. Like, yeah, I'm looking at stills, and the stills definitely look.
I feel like you must have if you've watched any Truffaut film.
Probably.
This would have been like the first. This would have been like the first film any.
Probably, but like
Film
you know what
school.
it's like in film school. It's like they'll show you like scenes from like 7 movies from a director, and then you'll watch one of them in full.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this was one that I watched in full, or I was also
It's
in
either
film
this-
school
it's
like
really like
25 years, or not 25 years ago. How long ago was I in film school? 20 years ago? 15?
It's either this or Breathless are his two probably more popular films.
Yeah.
But okay, so cool. Hollywood remake. My answer is no, because this film came out in 2019, and I think it's great. And now take it away, Farhan. Hollywood remake.
I would like to see a remake. It doesn't need to be made by Hollywood, but I kind of hinted at this earlier. I would love to see a version of this movie that like it starts with the mom's POV up until the boy's about to be sent away, or maybe like even like the first 2 weeks of him having to be sent away, and then the boy's POV that starts at the same place that the mom's does at the beginning, so we can see like, okay, what is this boy's life like without the mom around and without having a dad? Like I was very curious to see what does he do? Like how does he try to care for his sister? Is he trying to like to take up like an odd job at like a bakery or something to do what he can to help, so that when he makes the sacrifice to pretend to be deaf, it carries more weight, because then it's like, oh well the boy has tried multiple things already. Now even the boy has come to a point of desperation. It gives him a little more agency for him to like agree to go along with this, because then we see even he has tried multiple things. Because that is a very common thing in Iran, where oftentimes children are forced into having to work from a very young age to help with their family, especially when like a husband has died or father has died. And then a third act where you kind of see both POVs in tandem, or like they converge. I think that there's something interesting there. I would like to see it. I don't need this to be remade right now because it is a pretty new movie, but like, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years, if you want to remake it with a slightly different narrative framework, I'd be into it.
Take that, Rasulov. That's from DGC nominated editor Farhan Muradipur. Final thoughts and grades. I give this a B++.
Can you guess what I'm going to...
Because I think it's a very strong movie. It does probably have some narrative lapses. it brings up a lot of interesting things I would have liked to explore more, but at the same time, I just like that structurally a little bit different and something really interesting about, deeply dark themes, insanely heartbreaking film. It's not in the masterpiece echelon, but it's a very enjoyable film. B++.
Can you guess what I'm going to give it?
C-.
It's funny. I did originally think to give it a C-, like when I was watching the movie, but then I was like, no, you know what? This is better than a C-. So I ended up pumping it up to a C- as I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's particularly like amazing either. I do think that my biggest issues with the film are with the script. And I feel like it was an outline for an interesting movie with a lot of interesting ideas, but I don't think it was fleshed out as much as I would have liked. So I'm giving it a C-, which means that the Cinemarex show average for Son Mother is a B-, which I can live with that.
Okay. Son Mother is an authentic representation of an essentially human relationship that is torn apart bit by bit by people who think they're helping. It has since been praised for its quiet emotional realism and its harsh critique of societal constraints on the women and children in Iran. Nasri is remarkable as the boy at the center of it all, a child who's withdrawing into himself in the absence of reliable, consistent adult protection. Over the course of the film, we see him transform from a confident, outward-looking child into a ghost of himself, his face pressed against the window, looking out at a world that seems unwilling to make room for him. Khodayari, the mother, is also strong in the polar opposite role, and kudos to both actors as they nail the mix of futility and delusional optimism necessary to keep their characters on the edge of self-sacrifice. And of course, kudos to director Mahnaz Mohammadi and writer Mohammad Rasulov. For what is clear is that what they're really interested in is the bond that unites the two. And there's a suggestion that the strain placed on this bond symbolizes a much deeper malaise in Iranian society. Farhan, thank you so much for discussing your mother and your son with me.
Thank you, Kaveh. Happy belated Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
Happy super belated Mother's Day to all the mothers listening.
Yes. And happy super belated Father's Day from last year's Father's Day.
Yeah.
To all the
also,
fathers
happy super belated Mother's Day from last year's Mother's Day.
Yes, but also happy early Mother's Day to mothers out there for next
year. Yeah. Also, happy early Father's Day.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on a Sunday, happy Sunday.
Thank you to everybody who listens, tuning in, taking time to watch these amazing films with us and hearing us rant about it. You can follow us on Instagram at Cinemarex Podcast.
Also TikTok, Tiki-Taki.
And of course, we're everywhere on podcasts everywhere. You can find podcasts.
Yep.
Like and subscribe, leave comments.
We're not on the radio,
engage.
So don't listen to the radio.
And to everybody else, go Omi Dididar.
Bye. Music for Cinemarex was written and performed by Sohail Sadinejad.